Hey everyone, how's it going? Today, let's take an in-depth look at the very quick and highly anticipated 2012 Fiat 500 Abarth. And this is going to be a full and in-depth tour of the Abarth. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip and go over the performance data, and show you a bunch of the features on the interior as well as exterior. And today, I'm at State Line Fiat, right next to State Line Chrysler Jeep Dodge in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start it up, let it run. It's a beautiful black metallic exterior, otherwise known as narrow, with a full black and red leather interior, otherwise known as narrow and rosso. Specifically trimmed for the Abarth model. Standard 5-speed manual transmission. The first thing that Abarth does to set it apart from the standard 500 is that beautiful melodic exhaust note. If the exhaust note wasn't enough to get your heart racing for the sporty nature of the Abarth, the interior definitely will. Unique, fully leather-wrapped steering wheel with flat bottom design, color contrast red stitching found throughout the interior, heavy side bolstering, perforations off to the side. It is also nicely smooth, a little bit smoother than you'd expect out of a sports car-oriented vehicle. Also, the standard transmission and only transmission option for the Abarth is a 5-speed manual. It is nice and smooth, all the way over, down for reverse. And we're going to cut on the headlamps, the fog lamps, as well as the hazards. Power windows are located up in the center stack here. I usually put them down, but there was tent just placed on these windows, so I'll let it be. Let's go and check out the exterior, shall we? For those of you who aren't familiar with the Fiat 500 Abarth, think of it as a tuned-up, beefed-up version of the 500 in a similar fashion that the Mini Cooper John Cooper Works Edition is executed. While standard 500s are naturally aspirated, the Abarth gets forced induction thanks to a Honeywell turbo putting out a maximum boost of around 18 psi. Twin intercoolers, it actually gains around 58% more horsepower than the standard 500 at around 160 compared to the standard 101 horsepower. That's 114 horsepower per liter, quite impressive for this little of a car. Standard projector beam halogen headlamps, the 500 logo, pretty much comes on all of them. Highly modified front and rear fascias and side skirts directly designed for increased aerodynamics and air intake for those twin intercoolers up front. LED turn signal accenting, as well as unique Abarth graphics going across the sides. There's also two different wheel options for the Abarth, one being the set of gray painted aluminum alloy wheels, 16-inch, with 11.1-inch vented discs up front. They're up an inch from the standard 500, with 9.4-inch solid discs in the rear. And the single piston brake calipers are all painted rosso. Standard Pirelli P7 all-season tires measure 195/45. With the optional 17-inch forged aluminum alloy units, you get a set of Pirelli P0 narrow 3-season rubber that are also half an inch wider. The suspension has also been completely reworked. The front spring rates are actually up around 40%, and Koni dual-weave dampeners actually replace the standard twin tube units. The twist beam rear axle has been stiffened about 40%, and the coil rates have been increased 20% in the rear with a 22mm anti-roll bar. Overall ride height has been decreased just slightly, and the camber goes from 0.6 to 1.5 degrees, enhancing the turn-in. The electrically assisted power steering system is also quicker and more responsive than the standard 500, increasing its predictability going around the track. The unique rear fascia, dual chrome exhaust tips fed through a catback exhaust system and the unique spoiler jutting off the back. And for a little bit of historical perspective, the Scorpion logos are actually the Zodiac Scorpio sign, of which the founder, Carl Abarth, was born under. it became the universal sign and logo for all Abarth vehicles to come. And we're going to pop the hood. Like I said, what really puts the icing on the cake for the Abarth is its turbocharged, twin intercooled, multi-air 1.4 liter 4-cylinder. Fiat placed 2 intercoolers in the vehicle because it was too small to be able to fit a larger traditional one. So each intercooler sits to each side, and the air is funneled in by these air vents located up in the front fascia. 16 valve with Fiat's multi-air technology, which basically utilizes maximum efficiency of the intake valves for increased fuel mileage as well as performance. Performance does differ while the vehicle's in sport mode versus standard. So in sport mode, the maximum performance is around 160 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 170 foot-pounds of torque at around 2,500 RPM. Now it may not seem a lot, but in a car that only weighs around 2,500 pounds or so, it's definitely a little rocket ship. 0 to 60 time is a zippy 7.1 seconds, with a quarter-mile time around 15.5 seconds at 90 miles an hour. And with a 10.6 gallon fuel tank running on premium unleaded gas, it achieves an estimated miles per gallon rating of around 28 city, 34 highway. Now the 500 Abarth has been sold in previous model years in the European market, but there's a couple differences that exist. That particular one is rated at only 135 horsepower and lacks Fiat's multi-air technology, of which the US model is actually equipped with, as I said earlier. Like I said, the interior for the Abarth is definitely unique in itself. You have more padded stitched leather trim going throughout the vehicle, not to mention the two-tone color scheme that you saw earlier with the Rosso and Nero. Nice and padded going across. Your power mirrors. You do have a nice little array of storage cubbies also going across the back, as well as a little pocket in the handle here. As far as the seating, it's also unique. High top bucket seats with a nice amount of padding and a reasonable amount of comfort, with a stripe pattern coming up the center here and silver stitched accenting. Side airbags, satin silver accenting up top, as well as adjustable seat belts. The seats are also fully manual with your height adjustment here and your sliding over there. Recline is located in the middle here. The seats also have a modest amount of side bolstering coming across, and up here, it's not a whole lot, but a little bit more than the standard vehicle. So let's go ahead and see how this baby sounds. That turbo whistle is very prominent in this vehicle, as well as that little blow-off valve. You also have a little boost pressure gauge off to the left with a shift indicator, specifically for the Abarth models. So let's go ahead and shut her up. The Abarth also comes standard with a Bose audio system, the High Efficiency series, which basically utilizes lightweight speakers with impressive audio power. Manually dimming rearview mirror. This particular one also comes with a full power sunroof. Sunroof slides up and over the rear deck. Very nice open air feel, but in vehicles equipped with a sunroof, headroom is just limited a little bit, so for taller passengers, just watch out. Interior illumination up front. The radio is also very simple for the 500. In-dash CD player here, your preset stations, audio adjustments. Use these little arrows to go up and down between the sub-menus and left and right to adjust. And the like. Your menu. All the different settings for the radio, essentially. Change it between AM, FM, and satellite radio. Different media options, including iPod and auxiliary input. As well as your standard audio settings, mute, as well as song information you can activate here. You can also actually opt for a portable navigation system to come with the 500. And in the vehicles that do, there's a little trap door thing right there that you just stick it in, and it sits on top of the dash. Pretty simple. Simple to use automatic climate control system. All digital. Traction settings, different zones, front defrost, one-touch automatic, recycling, and AC activation. Your rear defrost is here, and sport mode, like I talked about earlier, for maximum performance out of the vehicle. As we come down, 12-volt power outlet, integrated cup holders, armrest for the driver's seat, your rear cup holders, nice and stitched padded section over the speedometer cluster with the color contrast red stitching. On the steering wheel, you have your cruise control over here, intermittent wipers, turn signal and lighting, as well as your telephone controls here with integrated voice dialing for the Bluetooth telephone system, as well as voice recognition.
Say a command.
Media player.
Media player. The available commands are USB media settings or exit.
Exit. So you can give the system some voice commands also if you were driving and didn't want to fiddle with the radio. All those commands are listed in your owner's manual. And your radio controls are located behind the steering wheel for your volume and seek on the other side. Heads-up display front and center with the date and time, outside temperature, digital speed readout, as well as digital readouts for your fuel and vehicle temperature. Absolutely beautifully styled interior. Extremely sport-oriented. We're going to shut her down. Then we'll check out the back seat. Fiat 500 is definitely no passenger car, but it does have a functional back seat. It's easy to access via that strap, and it just slides forward. It's all black, specifically for this model. The two-tone color scheme just applies to the front seats. But you do have that little stripe pattern coming down, as well as the color contrast stitching. For more comfort for people who do sit in the back, I recommend putting the headrests up. Otherwise, they'll kind of poke into your back here. But I'm about 5'10", and there's really no way you can sit back here that comfortably. So I just recommend for smaller passengers to be in the back, if you decide to haul anybody. Coat hooks in the upper panel, your rear speaker, and little armrest. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? Now the Fiat 500 is a smaller car, therefore it does have a smaller trunk. It's around 9.5 cubic feet. Your rear mounted subwoofer for the Bose audio system, but when you remove this cargo cover here, and then fold down the seats, it expands out into about 28 cubic feet, making it a good bit more practical. And a clip with the cargo cover out. Simple manual settings on the passenger seat, but you don't have the height adjustment. It's got a pretty reasonable sized glove box. Little storage pockets. It's also got your USB and auxiliary input in the back. At an attractive starting price of around $22,000 for the Abarth, I think. I believe this one's around $25,000 and they can go all the way up to $27,000. Get quite a bang for your buck as far as some of the competition goes. Uniquely styled, fantastic hot hatch performance, as well as that a little bit of Italian flavor. Definitely makes the 500 unique. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at the 2012 Fiat 500 Abarth. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.